2025 budget meeting. It's a public meeting tonight, so those wishing to speak for it, I'll give you 2 to 5 minutes. We're adjourned at 5:45 because I have council meeting tonight. So those wishing to speak on the proposed budget, please come to the microphone and identify yourself.
Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Robinson.
I know we have special appropriations, and what I'd like to happen is some of those to come up to the mic, and especially those that we granted funds to last year, let us know what they did with the funds and what they're planning on doing this year. And I'd like to start out with the unsheltered. Is what I'd like to start out with is Miss Shay.
Shay, are you here? Here he is. Come on up, please,
With the unsheltered. You know, Shay, can I say
Please,
something?
please.
You know, out there in the community, there's a misunderstanding, and I'm just wanting to bring it to people's attention, that the city doesn't do anything for the people that's homeless, that they're ignored, and we don't do anything. So tell us what you do for the homeless and what you planning on doing next year.
Well, last year, we were,
Shay, I gotta have you identify yourself, please.
I'm sorry, Officer Shay Cobbs, Unsheltered Liaison for the City of North Little Rock and North Little Rock Police Department. Last year, we were able to accomplish a lot with the unsheltered. In my position, I'm the liaison between the unsheltered and the city. I link them with resources to whether that be rehab, drug, alcohol, it may be veteran services, anything that's gonna help them to get off the streets. Successfully last year, was probably able to place maybe 7, 8 individuals, get them into housing authority, or that's just individuals that I was able to connect. I'm not able to track the ones that I've, linked with other services and resources within the city. We also run warming and cooling centers during the winter, warming centers during the summer. Warming centers during the winter, cooling centers during the summer. And last year, we also was able during our warming center to provide meals to the unsheltered because there were several nights that the unsheltered stayed at the community center because of the frigid temperatures and the inclement weather. Another thing that we have are the unsheltered fairs. Our unsheltered fairs, again, bring out workforce services. We bring out mobile showers. Any advocate for the unsheltered, we try to invite to the unsheltered fair and connect them with resources out there to get them, out of their situation or provide them with information that can get them off of the streets. Bus passes, we were able to give bus passes last year. If you weren't able to, get to somewhere, or that was a reason why you couldn't get to Jericho Way or you couldn't get to River City Ministries, I provided bus passes, as well as I've taken individuals myself who, if they can show me a Greyhound bus station ticket. I've taken individuals as far as Clinton. I've taken individuals as far as Malvern, Searcy, wherever they need to maybe, connect with family to get them back, on track.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Nathan, Mr. Hamilton.
So it's going from 125 to 75,000. That's a reduction of 50,000. I think I know the answer, but just to be clear, what's the reduction? That 50,000 reduction is?
The van did not request funding from the city this year.
I think that is unfortunate, yet it's entirely appropriate, and so
Anybody else?
they made their bed.
Thank you.
What'd you say about the van? What?
They didn't want funding.
They didn't request funding from the
I do have a
city.
question for Shay.
Okay.
Ms. Ross.
Shay, can you kind of tell us about what Potluck did for?
Potluck has been instrumental for me and for what I do. They not only provided all my meals when it came to breakfast for my warming center, and we all know last year with the inclement weather that came in, I think that warming center was open for at least a week or so. And that's not even including the other days where we have warming centers or cooling centers. But Potluck was food rescue on Broadway, was instrumental in providing those meals for me and making it to where I could provide a meal to the unsheltered, because not only do you want to give them a warm place to stay, you also would like to give them something to eat while they're there. There's a lot of times when I get calls from mothers who don't have necessarily, they're asking for funding, they're asking for food. Hey, I don't have food to make it through the week. Is there any way you can help me? And I know that I can always pick up the phone, and there's been many a times I'll call Potluck Rescue and say, hey, I've got a mother with 3 children, or I've got a mother with 2 children. They putting together a box, and I've gone and picked it up and delivered it to the family.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Anybody? Thank you, Ms. Cobbs. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
As you've heard from Ms. Robinson, she's got questions for some of you. We just dealt with the unsheltered outreach. Anybody else?
Ozark Mission.
Ozark Mission.
Hello, I'm Bailey Faulkner, the Executive Director of Ozark Mission Project. Thank you so much for all of your time and for the funding that we received last year. We were able to help people in all 4 wards. We did things like we built 14 wheelchair ramps. We helped do 17 porches, 28 minor home repairs. We were able to do 7 exterior paint jobs, helping do 71 projects. And of those projects, 4 of them were roofs. I have to tell you that we get so many requests for roofs, and we were hoping that we were able to do more. But because of the funding that we received, we were only able to do 4, and the 4 families that we helped were in huge need for the roofs, and we're so appreciative. But the accessibility projects, everything that we did, it was helping 71 different families across all 4 wards.
Quick question.
Ms. Ross.
What's the average cost on a roof? I know that some of them can be up to $12,000, $13,000.
Yes, I mean, it depends on the size and however much is needed, but I would say probably around 12 to 18,000.
Yeah, and it's hard to help one house
Yeah.
when you've got so many needs.
Yes.
So, okay,
Yep.
thanks.
Anybody else, please?
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
On the, on the applications the grants that y'all submitted, I was looking at the raises. Our employees are only getting 12% raise. And so the nonprofits that are getting more than what our employees, I kind of have a really hard time with that. Was yours actually 12% next year?
12% what? I'm sorry.
On the raises? You said the average raises in your application is 12%?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that was awfully high. I was kind of surprised
Yes,
by that.
no.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Do you know what it is? Because I've got them all written down, what the
Well,
average.
I have not received a raise since 2022.
Right.
So,
Well, that's why.
yeah, I don't know what the average raise of all, I think that could be our hourly employees. We did a raise for our hourly employees that haven't received a raise in a while. So they are now making $21 an hour, some of our hourly wage people. So that's probably what that was.
Okay, I figured it's probably an error. or
Yes,
something there, so-
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I want Argenta.
Okay, thank you very much.
X.
And now let's see, Ms. Robinson asked for Argenta Community or Contemporary Theater? Is that who it is?
Contemporary, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Courtney. I'm the co-executive director and director of development at Argenta Contemporary Theater. Thank you guys so much for what you provided to us last year. Last year we sat in this meeting and we heard you guys address us and other organizations saying that you wanted to know what we were doing to actively bring more people into our city on a regular basis. And we were already doing a lot, but we heard you loud and clear. And after that meeting, we went to work, not just focusing on our productions and our season, but ways to grow and to have a broader, more intentional and significant impact on our community and on the city's tax revenue. Here's what we've done and why we need that support to not only continue, but to increase from last year. We created a partnership in January with The Joint to help them with new customers and hosted the first ever Black History Month Cabaret, and we now hold a cabaret there once a month on the last Sunday of every month. We successfully rebranded to Argenta Contemporary Theater, creating media buzz that provided a lot of attention to the city and promoted the city. We tripled our season pass and flex pass holders. We hosted a 2-night event honoring musician Michael Rice from New York. We hosted multiple private events for organizations like AKA, Akanza. We hosted Colleen Bailey and the City of North Little Rock, the Argenta Arts District, AEDD. In meeting with the Thea Foundation, to see how we could partner with them, we entered into a rental agreement and opened the Benson McAdams Argenta Contemporary Theater Academy on the second level of the Thea Foundation, which now serves over 500 students year-round and employs on a contract basis some 20 teaching artists. We entered into an agreement to co-host the first ever Broadway Bound Awards with celebrity attractions that is connected to the Tony Awards, and for the very first time, our students in Central Arkansas will have an opportunity to go and compete in the Jimmy Awards again in association with the Tony Awards. We just recently broke attendance records with The Christmas Story the Musical. There are no tickets left. In 2022, we reached 487 students. This year, we reached almost 2,500 students through classes and camps. Our Lunch and Learn matinees for students, which provides 1,000 students with free or drastically discounted ticket prices and a lunch to experience live theater. 20% of our students are on a scholarship, and we are hosting the only pre-professional training program in the country that is completely free of charge for those top-level students that want to do this in college. This year, we are going into public schools, providing workshops to hundreds of students at absolutely no cost to those students or to those schools. We continue to program in Act 2, also on Main Street. So we now have 3 facilities on Main Street, and we have people in and out of those buildings, all 3 facilities, every single night throughout the year. Somebody is there. Auditions, rehearsals, shows, classes, camps. Some quick numbers from the Americans for the Arts. 79% of the American public believes that the arts are important to their community's businesses, economy, and local jobs. 89% of attendees agreed that the activity or venue they were attending was a source of neighborhood pride for the community. And we hear that over and over again at ACT. We are providing customers to area restaurants, small businesses around the city. We are providing jobs and improving the quality of life for our residents. And we simply couldn't do it without all of you supporting us. Ticket prices, as many of you know, only cover the cost of our productions. We understood the assignment last year, and I hope that our efforts are evident to you and that you will continue to invest in ACT so that we can provide more scholarships, more programs, and high-quality entertainment for the residents of our city. I'd also like to acknowledge Michael Marion, our board chairman, who is here, and a couple of our staffers, Bridget Davis and Warren McCullough. Thank you, guys.
Questions?
No, I just want to make
Ms.
a
Ross.
comment, and I appreciate the groups that have come up before, but we're not even going to be able to get into our,
I'm going to start limiting
because, I
this
mean,
to
we
just a-
have basically, what everybody's saying, we've got all that information on all the different nonprofits that made an application, so we really would rather prefer, I would prefer to ask questions.
I'm asking, so you'd rather prefer to ask questions. Ms. Robinson, you through here? Anybody else got any questions for the lady? If not, Mr. Hamilton.
For them or for the process, or?
If, I'd rather go them, but I'd rather go through the process too.
You're good, I'm fine.
Good?
I got,
Oh, all right. Hey, well, hang on just a sec then. If you're good with her, I'll excuse her. Ron?
I had a comment,
Okay.
just to other city council members. Vince was with me, but, you know, we get these invitations, and we got this, I saw this invitation to come to a contemporary theater open house Saturday, 3 o'clock. Let me tell you something. I was blown away. And this Argenta Contemporary Theater, I can tell you, it's an economic engine for our downtown North Little Rock. I just wanted to let you
Anybody
know.
else?
Thank you.
If not, Mr. Hamilton?
nope.
I think we're through, Allison. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much. Mr. Hamilton?
in terms of the process, they all submitted applications for amounts.
Yes.
And obviously, there's never enough money to go around. How do we come to the decision? Y'all presented, I mean, like there's a $200,000 they got last year. And now this year, the proposal is for 175,000. I don't know how much they requested, and I'll be honest, I don't, at this point, I don't think I need to know. I can respect the mayor's office and the administration submitting the $175,000 that y'all believe. It's a reduction of $25,000 from last year. When we're going down in all these,
Excuse me. Ms. Ember, can you straighten that out for me, please?
Yeah, so you have page 7A in your book, so you actually can see what they requested and the historical information from 2019 on. And if you remember in '23, we had additional ARPA funds where some of them went up. So we put this entire budget together. You know, we send out these requests from the agencies. We meet with all of the departments, and we have to go through all the requests. The chief of staff and I first meet with the departments, then we bring that information back to the mayor and go through and make changes as needed to bring you all a balanced budget.
that's the best answer I've got. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Turn the page, you could have said.
Yeah, turn the page. So anything else, any questions? We're still open. I'm going to keep everybody, if you can, we're going to stop this at 5:45. I have to go to council meeting. So any other questions for Ms.
Yeah,
Ross?
Argenta Downtown Council?
Argenta Downtown Council. Is Mr. Kent here, Chris? Did I see him? Oh, there you are. Please identify yourself again.
Hi,
Yes,
Chris
sir.
Kent, Argenta Downtown Council.
Oh, okay, I have questions. We know what you do. So that's what I was trying to get, because we've only got 30 minutes here. So as far as, you know, you had the ambassadors, and then the city hired Spriggs. And so I haven't seen any ambassadors down here, and this salary is the same salary when you were receiving funds for an ambassador.
Right.
So I guess I'm just kind of, why the same amount when you're not providing an ambassador?
Well, what we did is we shifted the amount that was going to the ambassador program. We added an additional person to the daytime crew. So we have four full-time daytime people working on landscaping and cleanup downtown right now, as well as 2 part-time people that work in that position as well. So we didn't get rid of the amount of people that we have. We just don't have somebody working side by side with the city's ambassador.
So will you have an ambassador? Will you add one? I mean, is that in your plans for the year?
I think as we continue to talk about what the downtown needs are and what the city wants for their ambassador program, that we can, you know, we're still trying to figure that out.
Okay, and so you have a 6% raise for all of your employees for next year, is that right?
We have a raise for our employees for next year, correct?
It's 6%. Okay.
All right, Ms. Robinson.
But now, you all now also include Mid-City, correct?
Yes, ma'am. We are working in Mid-City up to almost to the high school now on doing the plants and the cleanup and everything.
Anybody else?
I thought they were only in 18th Street. Have you expanded from 18th
Well, it
Street?
goes, it's up to the, I think it's where the new Special Olympics building is, which I think is right at about 20th.
It's
20th Street.
20th? Yeah. Oh, I didn't see them. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that you expanded
I
past
was
18.
thinking they were gonna go to Pershing.
Okay.
Anybody else? Taylor? Okay.
I guess I'm confused. So you had 2 ambassadors, now you don't have any, and the city only has 1. So why would you not replace the one that you had? Why would you not replace them if you were getting if you're getting the same amount of money and you're requesting the same amount of money? Why wouldn't you replace the ambassador?
We, like I said, with the city having taken over the one ambassador, actually, the one ambassador, we just have not added anybody to work alongside him at this time.
But for the same amount of money?
Correct.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Nope, not? Thank you, Mr. Kent. Appreciate it. Next, for anybody.
Can I ask a question?
You sure can.
The Arkansas Region Innovation Hub, is that because, that's under the library now or something?
I'm going to go ahead and make it. Let's see, is anybody from the library here tonight? So at my last staff meeting, I was informed that the Arkansas Innovation Hub is being purchased by the library. So with that, the library will be taking it completely open, staffing it and everything.
So we don't need to, so we saved $125,000.
well,
That's correct. We did, in the proposed budget you have, the library has not been funded for the hub.
Okay. So we saved $125,000.
Ms. Ross,
Is
No, you
Betty,
throw-
Is
I'm sorry,
Betty
you-
Anderson here?
say again?
Betty Anderson here?
Betty is still out of town today. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so well, I'll just bring this up right now, too.
Go ahead.
The Fit to Live program that we have, we
Right.
haven't had anyone in there in quite some time, and HR has been handling it. They've been doing a great job.
They are.
And so I don't understand why, I mean, basically, they could do it, hire a part-time person. You know, the salary, I mean, that budget's $146,000 that we do need to remove from the city because we
I
have
agree.
not.
I'm not disagreeing
So
with you
that's
at all.
one thing that I'd like to see that gone, and if we have to put part-time into HR salary,
We can,
I'm
but
fine with that.
That was something we talked about earlier. Betty's not here.
Okay.
I don't plan on fulfilling that position again, so if you want to make a note of that,
yeah, that's,
Anita.
not filling that department, basically,
What are
because,
you
you know,
talking
there's a
about?
lot of
Fit to
extra
live.
in there.
What?
Fit to live.
Oh, okay.
Page 28.
Anybody else?
Mayor,
Yes, sir, Mr. Hayes.
I wanted to ask, we had normally, and maybe Amber can point me in the right direction, but the annual appropriation that we have for our food pantries in North Little Rock, am I overlooking it, or is it?
That's on page 7 and 7A as well, and that's the food bank, and what we have appropriated is $15,000.
Okay, okay. How much did we give them last year?
Down from how much?
Last year, we gave them 45, and they requested 45, and in the proposed budget, it's at 15.
Wow. Big
Mr. Hampton?
difference.
Is there a reason why we decreased that by so much?
It's more in line with what we were giving them pre-ARPA and COVID funding. We were giving them 20 at that time. That's why page 7A is key, because we are tracking from 2019 on. And again, to balance the remaining budget.
One other thing, too.
Ross, go ahead.
I don't know, this is just on the miscellaneous income under revenue. Let me see what page that's on. Probably remember, Amber.
It's on page 1
On
or
page
page 2.
Okay,
2's the detail.
okay, on page 1. Under miscellaneous income, where are we?
Page 2 is the summary, and it's down from 1,974,000 to 817,000. And that's because in 2024, we used $1 million of carry forward to balance the budget. This budget is balanced without carry forward because you do not want to have a budget that you're balancing using carry forward. That's a one-time funding source. So if you're going to give ongoing raises and such, your revenue should offset your expenses.
So I know that you said the 817, you also moved something over to another area.
Yeah, the 911 revenue on your budget has in the past been budgeted in miscellaneous, but when we do our annual audit, it goes in intergovernmental revenue because that's revenue we get from another government. So I just put that over on page 3 where it's
And that was-
categorized appropriately.
And that was the 875, so
Right.
that's around 1.6,
Yes,
correct?
go ahead and explain what we're doing by state mandate, if you don't mind, with those.
So in 2019, the state came out with a law where they wanted to decrease the number of PSAPs, which is a public safety answering point. So if you're in a wreck and you call 911, your phone will ping the closest PSAP. In Pulaski County, every city had their own PSAP, and that's where this revenue comes from. Pulaski County is going down to 3 PSAPs, with Little Rock having their own. And when we submitted our plan 2 years ago, we were going to consolidate with Sherwood and Maumelle. In this budget, we're ready at the beginning, January 1, 2025, to consolidate with Maumelle. That's why you see a new line on page 3 that's called PSAP 911 shared revenue. That's the money that the city of Maumelle will give to us for the services of running their PSAP, taking their calls. Their employees will come on board with us, but that all gets billed out through the 911 emergency services revenue.
And so y'all
budget.
know, I think Ms. Amy Fields, city attorney, is doing a contract right now with them, is it? So they're in the process of getting that worked out. Anybody else?
What's that? I do. Can
Go
I-
ahead.
Now, on page 3, under, I forgot to ask you, Contra, what's the $856,000?
So that is our 2019 bond for the Justice Center. The first revenues are pledged to that from television, energy, telephone, and Summit. And we have to collect those revenues separately till we get to the 856, which is the annual debt payment. So it shows as an offset to the revenue. So we still budget each revenue at what we're gonna get, and then show that debt payment as a contra, because it's decreasing our franchise fee revenue.
And another thing that I noticed is the auction sales that we have is way down compared to what and you said that Mary Beth is not doing that anymore?
That's right. Amy Smith is over that, and she's been getting all that going, and I'm gonna talk to her and make sure that we're setting reserves like Mary Beth was, and get that auction sales back up.
Because we were GovDeal's poster child. We
Yeah.
were doing so well. So that was one thing that I was, okay.
I'm going to remind everybody in the audience, you have a chance to come to the microphone. We've got another 17 minutes before I adjourn this, so anybody in the audience would like to come up and
I've got
speak.
more questions.
I'm not through, I'm just letting them know how much time. Go ahead, Ms. Ross, please. Ms. Ross still has the floor, I think.
No, Ron. can go.
Okay.
She always has the floor.
I know. Well, all right, you got it now. How's that?
Amber, have you, what's the overview? I mean, I think I'm missing the opening statement of what is the state of affairs? That's what I'm missing.
Okay, if you turn to page 1, that's for the general fund. You'll see that our estimated revenue is going from approximately 86.2 million to almost 89 million. So we're increasing 3,782,000. That's a 4.4% increase. The biggest increase is coming from the increase in sales tax. I do think that sales tax is tapering off that train we've been riding for a while since COVID. We're finally seeing that slow down. I think last year we were still up quite a bit as people recovered from the tornado. So I estimate sales tax to be at about 64,836,000. We've got increase in property tax, franchise fees. Those make up the large amount there. The good news is this is a balanced budget, as I said. At the bottom, you'll see there's $141,023. That's our revenue exceeding our expenses. So right now, we have more revenue than expenses. You want that to be zero without having to use carry forward. And we've done that with this budget.
And let me, knowing you more each year and year, you send those quarterly reports, and and those reports you love to project. Oh, look how better we did this time, or better we did. I mean, it's never, hardly ever a negative. As far as,
But they are conservative reports.
yes. So what I'm saying is, this is a conservative budget.
You always want to be conservative, but I feel like we're getting closer to where sales tax is going to taper off. I don't think you'll get.
Because of COVID and all this other
Right.
stuff that's, you didn't.
It was just so volatile, we didn't really know, was the spending still from the influx of COVID money? Then the tornado hit, so was the increase from that? So this year, I've seen it stay pretty consistent, and I think that's where it's gonna stay at going forward, and that's what this budget is based on.
And I'm kind of understanding, we're in great shape, but you don't want to just go, we don't
You don't want to give raises to employees that you have to come back later and furlough them.
It's not
You
time
definitely don't want to
it's
do
not
that.
time to celebrate. Okay.
I think if you explain the fund balance, that would help a lot explaining it. If you could explain the fund balance too.
Yeah, and so in our general fund, we have a fund balance reserve policy that you all passed probably 4 or 5 years ago. And what we have to do there is we keep 25% of the prior year budgeted expenditures in reserve. So if you look at on page 1, the 2024 column, the original budget, our expenses were $86,213,000. So for this coming year, we have to keep 25% of that in reserves, which we have. When the tornado hit, we did not have to dip into that. And in fact, we have above that amount. So our reserves are in a good place. We're still expecting to get some money back from FEMA, still working on that weekly. But a 25% reserve is great, and not all cities can say they have that, but we can.
So what is that we have in reserve?
It is
To the 40, we have 40 million.
yeah,
right?
it's approximately 40 million.
But then we've got a 25%.
And the 25% is around 21 million that we cannot touch without coming to you all, which leaves about 19 million of unrestricted.
Okay, and let me ask, so you know, you're a part of the municipal league, you know a lot of CFOs, and you're well-respected in the state. So care to give a percentage of how North Little Rock compares to other cities? I mean, do you rank us in the top quartile of cities in the state, or?
Well, I haven't been looking at other cities' financial reports, but I did work at another city, and I think that we're doing really well. In the 5 years that I've been here, we've never had to talk about doing a massive furlough or a massive cutting of employees, which I've been through those before. But that's why we try to balance this budget, because we have union contracts with police and fire that we have to honor. Other employees want raises. We want to keep our employees, police and fire, getting their equipment to respond to the citizens. So I think we're doing good.
Yeah, that's fine. I just asking.
Ms. Ross?
Okay, so I know that we want to be competitive with other cities and other departments, and, the police, we all want to be competitive, the fire, we want to be competitive. But with our legal department, we need to add at least $32,000. We've had attorneys leaving, and they cover our butt all the time, I can tell you that, because the ones that are leaving, just me alone bugging them, I can't imagine what they deal with all the time. And so to get them halfway to where they should be, we need to add 32 million, yeah, they'll go party. 32,000 on that one. And then there's another position too that I know that I've talked about that I'm very adamant about, is an enforcement officer for planning. Because if you look at our agenda tonight, we're putting more conditions on everything that comes through. We put conditions on. We don't have anybody to enforce them. And people know that. And there's a lot of areas that could be improved if we had an enforcement officer. And that's probably going to be like around 60,000. Correct? By the time you do benefits and Medicare and,
Enforcement officer,
Yeah.
where?
Planning.
Where?
Planning department.
Planning.
And based on that position in the other departments, we estimate that would be about $65,500 for salaries and benefits, as she was
And
saying.
so I would suggest this Fit to Live money, if we do away with that department, we've got 147,000, so we could put that to those two items there, the 32 and then the 65. I'd like to do that. That would be my suggestion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Taylor.
I got another question for the downtown council, just really quick.
Mr. Kent?
So during your discussion, you stated that you guys service up to where now?
We go basically from Washington Avenue on Main Street up to Broadway, both directions on Broadway, continuing up Main Street all the way to around 20th Street, I think is where the plant's in.
So you guys get some of your funding from the Business Improvement District that was established, correct?
We get some of our funding from the Business Improvement District downtown, correct?
So was that Business Improvement District expanded when
Well, that's a really good question. It would be great if it could. I think it was short-sighted previously. There were properties that could have been added in that weren't added in. It's a little more challenging after the fact, once somebody's into their property, to go ask them to volunteer to join a tax. And some of those properties are city-owned properties, Plaza area, some of those as well that are, like the 800 Main building does not fall within the business improvement district.
Well, if you have 51% of the business owners that volunteer to be in that district, everybody else gets pulled in, whether they want to be in it or not.
Right. On the initial setup, we've had several meetings. Nathan Hamilton's been to some of these as well. We've tried to find ways to bring these other property owners into the district because the city ends up picking up those tabs if the property owners aren't picking them up.
So I guess this is a crazy question, but why did we expand the district if none of those people are going to be paying for it?
Why did this? Well, I think the city wanted services in those areas. And like if you look at Mid-City and the work that we've done over there, we've seen properties start to turn over. We've seen people invest in those areas and it's working. They were correct. Dr. Bennett here encouraged us to work in Mid-City and you've seen the results of that.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hampton.
But
I'm sorry.
But the taxpayers from the current business district they're carrying the water for the rest of them.
Well, we try to keep the bulk of the services for the people that are in Argenta Business Improvement District number 31. We try to take real good care of them and then expand out and take care of these other areas that the city has asked us to take care of as well. It's complicated.
I've been in a number of these meetings in terms of expanding. There are a number of large businesses and property owners whose property value downtown is absolutely being increased by the work that the downtown council is doing. And they do not contribute to the tax improvement district or to the business improvement district. And I am absolutely in favor of the business improvement district finding a way to expand, to pull in some more of them because they're absolutely riding on the coattails. And I think you've pointed out
I'm coming to you next.
a very big loophole.
Ms. Robinson.
My question is for Ember. Have we received any monies from FEMA?
We have, yes.
So have they paid us, all that?
Not everything. We're waiting on our roads project, which was about 4.5 million. That's the one that they denied originally, and we had to do an appeal, and that process took quite a while. They finally came back and said we won the appeal, and now they're going through the review phase again. We've given them extra information multiple times.
That was most of the roads in Burns Park that we had to redone. So
Right.
that's where those funds are. And we
Chris,
paid it out, but we hadn't got anything back yet.
Right. And then electric, so once it goes to FEMA and if FEMA approves it,
Are we through with?
Yeah, Chris, sit down, please.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
thank
Oh,
you.
I still have a question.
I'm sorry.
for him,
You
though.
got Chris, you have a question for him?
Chris?
Chris, come on back. Ms. Ross.
Oh, so I'm looking at your budget here. So for your bid, is this correct? From January to July, you received 70,500?
That is
Your bid?
that is correct.
So you get around 140,000
The business
a year from the bid.
district contributes around $180,000 a year right now, and after the expenses of that the commission oversees, the downtown council receives around $160,000 to $165,000.
Right. But is this correct? Like around 44% of your budget comes from the city, though, correct?
Correct, and then the rest of it comes from the business improvement district, and then sponsorships and events where we make up the bulk of the rest.
Well, you be getting that Main Street grant again?
We will get the Main Street grant, and it is around $30,000, I think, is what they've upped that to.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Okay, that's it.
Anybody else?
We had a
Hampton.
gentleman try to get up and talk.
Well, come on. Come to the mic. Go ahead, please.
Raul Fernandez, I'm the Executive Director for Seis Puentes Hispanic Outreach. In the last year, we've been able to serve about 1,000 students with free English classes. From this year to last year, we were able to increase our food pantry production by 100%. This year, we've been able to serve almost 3,000 meals to residents in North Little Rock. This Thursday, we'll be serving 566 meals down at Rose City on Lynch Drive, Levy, and Levy, Rose City. We're doing it at 3 different places, I'm sorry. And Sherman Park Community Center. So I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for helping us out. We've been able to grow quite a bit in the last couple of years, and if y'all have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Ms. Robinson?
Do you all still provide identification cards for people that don't,
Yes, ma'am.
not able to drive or don't have them?
Yeah, so anyone without an identification card in the city of North Little Rock can come to us, and as long as they provide us with some form of identification and we can verify that they live in the city of North Little Rock, we can issue them an ID. With that ID, they can put utilities in their name, access to proper banking, and identify themselves to local law enforcement. We've been able to issue a little over 1,000 of those IDs in the last couple of years.
Thank you.
And
Ms.
you're
Ross?
getting- And you're getting 0 raise, is that right?
I'm getting 0 raise.
0% raise,
Yeah,
I saw
haven't
that.
had one
Right.
yet. I
I know
love
you
what
haven't.
we do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? We're
Not
getting
for
down to the
him.
last few minutes. Mr. Hamilton?
For Ember, could you give me a ballpark, and this may be impossible to do, a ballpark of how much the tornado cost us?
It was probably approximately $40 million.
Okay, 40
think
million,
at
and how
the-
much do you think we got reimbursed?
I expect that we'll be down about 8 million when it's all said and done.
It will have cost us about 8
Right.
million when it's all said and done. So looking at page 1, just looking at the 30,000 foot, last year we spent $6.5 million more than we budgeted, and approximately $6.5 million more than we brought in.
Well, we amended our 2024 budget by 6.5 million, but that doesn't mean we necessarily spent it. So in February and March, we go through and look at all the outstanding purchase orders from the prior year and roll those forward. But there may be, big projects that still get carried over a couple of years.
Okay, so that red number at the bottom red number,
That is
6.5
not-
million, is that,
I do not intend that we will end the year at 6.5, a loss of 6.5 million.
ballpark,
no.
what do you think will end?
Right now, I'm hoping, the last time I ran numbers, and it was probably about a month ago, I need to update it, that we might be down $1 million.
So down 1 million, tornado cost us 8, so we probably spent less than $7 million last year than we budgeted?
In 2024 or
2024?
2023?
Or,
Well, we still will be spending through February. We'll have invoices
We're always
that
2
can
months
hit.
behind, remember?
okay,
So it's,
so did we spend, do you think by the end, all those invoices are done and the projects? I'm not,
by the end of February, when we get our audit and everything done, I'm expecting our revenue to only be about $1 million less than our expenditures.
Ms. Roberts?
I want to get back to Ember.
Go ahead.
You're saying that, did I hear you say that FEMA owes us, what, 4.5 million, or am I just hearing?
No, that's, 4.5 million was the cost of the road project, and we're expecting to get 75% back. We're still waiting on that.
3.5 million.
But I feel good about it based on the questions they've asked us and the additional documents they've asked us to provide. So I'm going to follow up with them this week. We usually email with them weekly. Unfortunately, it's just a long process for them to review that information.
We've got a couple more meetings. Mr.
I just want to second what Councilmember Ross said in terms of the staff the salary increase for the legal department. I'd like to see that in there, and the enforcement for the planning department. I think that's necessary as well. If there's anyone out there with the nonprofits, that special appropriations page, that represents about, I don't know, 6% of the budget that we spend 99% of our time on. If there's anybody out there who has an issue with how much you're getting, please contact me. My cell phone number's on the website. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. If we don't have the money, we don't have the money. But if you want to make your case, I certainly want to listen, and I'll let you know yes or no what my support would be. So
I gotta go here and I'll come back.
I have one final recommendation that kind of most of you know. I've kind of been doing some research, and I left some salary wages increases, that what other mayors across the country or across our state are being paid. And the mayor has told me to get off this, but I'm still on it, because if you looked at the salary, we're not paying our mayor what we should be, or what other cities are paying their mayor. And I'm not saying we need to all fix it, but my recommendation is that we maybe at least try to find 4%, and anyway, that's just my recommendation.
Ms. Ross?
One quick comment, and Amber could have said this, but I'll say it anyway. This budget, I know it's tight this year. It is every year. We go over all this. But fire, police, and emergency services makes up 66% of the budget. That leaves $30 million for everything else in the city. We pay no sanitation fee in the city. We get our leaf sucked up in the city. So, I mean, we have a lot of really good benefits, but 30 million, it sounds like a lot, but when you look at all the employees we have and all the services, it's tough.
Can I make a final comment?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
A final comment to the nonprofits that we give money to. I want you all to know that we really appreciate you guys, because you do things that we are unable to do, or you reach people that we are unable to reach. And so I just want you guys to know that we really appreciate you and appreciate the work that you're doing here for our residents and for the city of North Little Rock.
Real fast, Miss Amy and I, Miss Fields and I are doing the next agenda, and you want to try to do that Wednesday, correct? For the next council meeting, or do you want to try to do it next? Well, we always do it on Tuesday. I know, but next, so you want to try to do it next Tuesday? So, all right, so on our budgets, what I'm trying to get at, which will be an ordinance, I'll bring it back to y'all. We'll get with Ms. Fields, and there's a couple of things you've got to get in there. So with that, she and I will be talking about getting a balanced budget back to you by then. Do you have to pass it? I would like it passed to be looked at again. Any more questions? And by the end of the year, I'd like it passed if possible. But again, it's y'all's call. Anything else?
I mean, I have more questions, but I don't have all the information yet.
Right. If not, we're adjourned. We'll meet back here at 6 o'clock for the council meeting. Thank y'all very much for attending.